My name is Elizabeth, and I say no more to sits. No more. Today we're going to talk about the day my son left me. It was a Sunday morning. We had had some drizzling rain on and off. I was getting up to get ready for church. My baby woke up and I fed him. And I laid him back down after snuggling him for a few minutes. And I just laid back and closed my eyes. I didn't even go to sleep because I was getting up to go to church, and I was just steeling myself as, an overtired mother to get up and get in the shower and all of that. Something felt wrong. I opened my eyes and my son was gray. He had just fed 15 minutes ago and he was gray. I picked him up and he was so limp. I had never held someone who had just died. He was so limp. I thought, something horrible, like he broke his neck or anything. So I'm on the phone with 911. And I handed the phone to my husband, who says that I had screamed. I don't remember that part. I'm giving you the memories I have. Some of it I don't think will ever come back. It is an incredibly traumatic morning. So I start doing infant CPR, which I took as a teenager in high school. And my husband talks to him. We hear the fire truck arrive. And he scooped up the baby and ran to them. And they brought him in and they checked for a pulse. There was no pulse. They started CPR, but they didn't have a mask that would fit his face. And I had to continue doing the respiration for the CPR. And in between breaths, listening to them count, I prayed and prayed and prayed. Please, Jesus, don't take my baby. Please, God, don't take him. He needs to be here with me. Please, God, don't take my baby. The paramedics arrive, and they scoop him up, and they go directly to the hospital. One of the officers that showed up because of the 911 call took me over to the hospital. They take me to this little room with a couch, a chair, and I realized this is the room where people go when things went horribly wrong. In comes the doctor, a great doctor, by the way. His name was Dr. Glick. He died of male breast cancer, but he was a fantastic doctor. Those of you who live in Oroville probably remember him. And he sits down with me and he says, "I'm sorry, your baby is dead." And I look at him and he goes, "It was SITS and there was nothing that could be done about it." And I told him, "That's an unacceptable answer." I was so numb. I didn't know what to do. And they bring me into the room and there's my baby, wrapped and swaddled on a gurney. And the nurse offers for me to hold him again. And I can't do it. I can't hold him because he's not my baby anymore. Everything that made him my baby left. So I haven't cried yet, and I'm walking out. I go outside, and I'm just standing there. The nurse is touching my face, sends the other nurse for a blanket. I guess I was in shock. And I'm waiting for my mom to arrive, because all I want is my mama. And they finally convinced me to go in and wait for her in there. And as I'm walking down the hall, I hear my mother's feet. I turn around and I start crying for the first time that morning. I'm like, Mama, he's dead. My baby, he's dead. My mother comes over and she holds me and we go into that room and I cry and I cry and I cry. I want to leave the hospital so bad and they're asking me about funeral arrangements and I can't even think. My baby, he's dead. I have to put him in the ground. So we finally pick a memorial home for him to go to so that I can leave the hospital. My mother picks up my husband and we're driving out to where she's living at the time. My 2-year-old as well, because I had an older son. I'm in this surreal place. You know, the day is just breaking. Watching the sunrise, a beautiful sunrise any other day. And I realize people are getting up, getting ready for church, getting ready to start their day, kissing their kids. And my life has been catastrophically shattered. And I know it's not important to the world. And I understand that. I really do. But it was so surreal realizing people were falling in love, falling out of love. And my baby would never be with me again. So I get to my mother's and a day of absolute hell begins. I can't eat. My breasts keep filling up with milk and they hurt. And every time it lets down, it reminds me that my baby isn't there. I took and was going through things, trying to get things set up. I called people. I called one of my friends and she had been out of touch for a while. And I told her if somehow I caught her. And I told her what was happening and she's like, I'm on my way. She didn't even think, she just came. And I'd like to thank you, Shauna Knight, for coming. I talked to my family and I didn't want people to worry about me. So I told them, it's okay, I'll make it through. I have this huge gaping wound inside me. Huge. It was like somebody reached in and pulled out my insides. I alternate between numb and crying. One of the people that called me, a family member, had said to me, I can't believe you're being so heartless about this. And that hurt so bad because it wasn't that I was heartless. It was that I was in so much pain, I had gone numb. So the next day I stayed the night with my family and my brother had come up and we all just grieved together. I get home to my apartment and I look around and there's the evidence of everything. And I fell apart. I started crying and screaming and I screamed at God. And I said, how could you do this to me? I loved my baby so much. And I was so angry at God. You know, some of the things people said to try to bring me ease only made me angrier. Like my husband's grandmother, and I know she was trying to bring me ease, but she told me, just think of an angel coming to your bed and just taking away your baby. And I'm like, how could an angel do that? Looking at me blissfully trusting long enough to close my eyes, trusting that my baby would be there. So I was so angry. And slowly I came out of that. We buried him 10 days before Christmas Eve. And in between, there are so many odd things that you do. I remember getting stuff ready for his clothes for him to wear. And I'm like, oh, I need to pack diapers. I need to pack socks because his feet are going to get so cold. It's ironic because, you know, he's dead and he's gone. But you can't stop taking care of him. And I would give almost anything to keep another mother from going through this. I want the answers. Maybe once they get the answers, they'll find a way to prevent or predict. Because as shocking as it was inside, I don't know if you could ever really prepare for it, but I certainly would have stopped sleeping and watched him all the time. In fact, when my son Devin was born, he was born 1 year and 2 days after Jeremy died. I barely slept. I mean, I would go till I passed out. I was so terrified of going through that again. And we had an apnea monitor, and the sad thing about it is it successfully terrifies you. Every time they move or one of the leads disconnects, you have this squealing alarm, and you think, oh my God, my baby's dying. And, you know, I had it on him all the time. But as I said, it just terrified me more. Every morning I would wake up at the same time that Jeremy woke up. And I would get my baby, Devin, and put him in his stroller. And I would go for a walk because I couldn't lay back down. I was always terrified that it was going to happen again. And, you know, people go, how could you just keep going? I had no choice. My son Tristan was only 2 and he needed me. As much as I wanted to be...
Mom?